Hey everyone, welcome to the greatest access tutorial ever, where we cover anything Microsoft Access. My name's Jeremy. Let's get started. So today we're going to be talking about pitfalls to avoid in Microsoft Access. These are various things I'm compiling as I'm starting to build this channel, and they come from mostly personal experience. So there, a lot of things I'm telling you guys to avoid are because I have made these mistakes. Now, a little bit about me, just in case you wonder who I am. I'm a full-time Access database developer since 2018 for the US government. I'm also certified in SQL Server. I've been a CISP since 2019, and I'm mostly self-taught using books, internet, Google is your friend, YouTube, of course, things like this channel. Get right into it. Pitfall number 1, never allow multiple values when you're setting up your foreign keys. Now, I went over this in episode 1.2, so you can look at that episode for more examples. But basically, if you are setting up your foreign keys, Access allows you to do this, allow multiple values. And what they're doing is making hidden join tables. You do not want this ever, never use this. So I cannot stress that enough. I used it once in my very first database, and it just ruined the life of other people who were using my data for their different systems. So I will eventually have a new episode out that tells you how to do join tables, which are basically many-to-many joins. They're not very hard at all, but this is just for, I would never use this even for personal use. Just learn how to do join tables properly, and you won't have a problem at all. Okay, let's move on. I just had a video on this. This is called, this is for closing your VBA code objects. Super important. So once you get into coding and you have objects floating around in code, Microsoft claims that the code will close itself, the objects will close themselves once your code is out of scope. Sometimes that doesn't happen, whether it's because you have bad error handling or something went wrong with Access. So you have to explicitly close the objects. I use close and set to nothing. I use both commands because they're slightly different. Sometimes in Microsoft examples even, you'll see just set the object to nothing equals nothing without the close. I always do both. Episode 7.3 details a module you can use to help you with this. And so this is vitally important because you can actually have a really bad time if you have open objects in memory as you keep trying to debug a program up into including crashing your database and erasing all of your VBA code. Yes, it's happened to me before, the very first database I did. So this is very important to always close your objects. Okay, now this one I have never done before, but I've seen other new Access developers try this, people I was trying to train up, and so this is something I thought I would mention. So this is 3.1, so there are two that are going to go together because they're very closely related. So this one is never have your users run the front end from a network location. So if they have a split database, never have them go to, let's say, a network share and run the front end from there. They should always have a copy of the front end on their local machine, running it from there to talk to the remote data. This will be a future Area 10 episode. It's not very hard to do. I will even have a class on how to write a batch file for Windows so that when you start it, it checks for the most recent version, etc. So I've seen people try this. Do not do this. It is a bad idea just because it ties your hands from a design perspective, because you can't do things that you would do on a local, let's say, table that's unique to that user. And also, if they have a problem or something goes wrong with the front end, they've corrupted it for everyone. So it's just generally a bad idea altogether. Now, related to that is always use a split database and a multi. You basically have to do this. I guess you could have a monolithic database on a network and have everyone use it. That's just a horrible idea. You don't want to do that. You want to have a split database. So what that means is the front end and the back end data are separate. They're separate files. They're both Access files, but this is the executable front end. This is the data table back end. They need to be two separate files. And then in combining that with 3.1, they should have local copies of their front end talking to this back end data. It's not very hard to do. Again, that will be a future episode to show you how to do this. This is the hardest one this is the hardest tip of them all. And I have two that are related. Know your customer needs, even if the customer is yourself. Even if you're programming for yourself, you need to know the customer needs. And a lot of times, especially as you get really good at database, you think you know the customer needs, and then you find out you did not know them very well. So the customer may be wishing for all of this, and then you as a database developer say, well, I know how to do that, but I'm going to do this because it's better. And they get really mad. The thing I like to focus on is that think of a cell phone app. Cell phone apps are very simple. And as you get good at database, you may be really good at adding lots of extra features that they don't care about. Trust me, most users of your database do not care about all those extra features. They want simple, simple, simple. So therefore, that's why you need to really be in touch with them and avoid database jargon. That is, again, super, super difficult, because I've actually had once where a Microsoft team was coming into our organization to build a database, and they were asking our finance people who have no knowledge of database stuff, hey, is this a parent and child relationship between these two kinds of fields? And the finance people contacted me like, what in the world are they talking about? So those Microsoft guys were using this database jargon that no one would have known except another database person. So it's really important to be really in tune with your customers. Even if it's yourself, you need to know what you want your database to do so you can stay focused in development, because developing a good database takes a lot of work. And then plan the database. This is also very hard, especially as you get better at the database. You'll just start typing. So I've been doing this over 7 years, over full-time really, and I still fail at this a lot. But I find out when I do take the time to plan the database, it saves a lot of time and headaches in the long run. And what I mean by that is just take a scrap of paper and start writing things, or maybe even using PowerPoint and just making designs. Just design out the interface. That's what I do, is I design the interface, and then I know, okay, from that interface, this is how the back end used to be. And then I start coding the back end. I code the back end tables, then I start doing the forms and the interface, and then I do the coding behind all of that to make it work. And then you are successful. And that is it. This was a very short video. Thank you for watching.